welcome to Recap King. In this video, we will explain Iwane's Sword of Serenity. This movie tells a story of a great samurai who must be faced with a situation where he has to kill his own best friend due to family conflict. However, it turned out that they became relatives through marriage. How do they solve their problems as a samurai and family? Let's find out in Iwane's Sword of Serenity. Iwane's Sword of Serenity tells a story of three young men who are students of a samurai college doing katana fighting training together. The youths were Kinpei, Shinnosuke, and Iwane. They already know each other and have been close friends since they were little. Iwane, Shinnosuke, and Kinpei come from the same countryside to college to pursue their dream of becoming a samurai. They were all educated by their respective families to carry on their family's mandate to become a true samurai. In this last katana fighting practice, Kinpei, who managed to defeat Shinnosuke, asked Iwane to come forward and fight with him. Iwane always shows a calm attitude when dealing with his opponent. He became one of the best samurai in the college because he had a katana sword technique called the Sleepy Sword. In seconds, he managed to defeat Kinpei in the katana sword fight. Their samurai master looked proud of Iwane and praised his extraordinary swordsmanship. A few days later, Iwane, Shinnosuke, and Kinpei went climbing a hill around their college. They came to the hill to talk to each other together before they finally returned home to their hometown. Through their conversation, it was discovered that Shinnosuke had married Kinpei's younger sister before coming to college. So, Kinpei has now become Shinnosuke's brother-in-law. Meanwhile, Iwane plans to marry another younger sister of Kinpei named Nao. He briefly recalls his past when he promised Nao that he would marry her after completing his training at the samurai college. Now he can't wait to meet Nao after he returns to the village. After going through a long journey, Iwane, Shinnosuke, and Kinpei finally arrived at their hometown and returned to their respective homes. When Iwane arrived at his house, he sat with a bow while greeting his parents. He was warmly welcomed by his parents, who felt very proud of his achievements. His mother brings good news by telling him that his marriage to Nao has been well prepared. Meanwhile, Kinpei, who had arrived at his house, was warmly welcomed by all his family members. He then brings a stroke medicine that he brought from the samurai school. On the other hand, in the middle of Shinnosuke's journey to his house, he meets his uncle, Rien. Uncle Rien invites him to stop by a brothel in their village. Arriving at the brothel, Uncle Rien told Shinnosuke that his wife had an affair with an old man named Lazen. He gave Shinnosuke a hair clip that belonged to his wife that he had given as their wedding gift. He claimed to have found the hair clip in a shop. He then said that his wife was currently wearing a tortoiseshell-shaped hair clip which was thought to be a gift from Lazen. Hearing his uncle's explanation, Shinnosuke felt very angry and jealous of his wife. That night when Shinnosuke arrived at his house, he didn't say anything and looked straight at the hair clip his wife was wearing. After seeing the tortoiseshell hair clip, as told by Uncle Rien earlier, he became furious and uncontrollable. He felt that he had been betrayed by his wife. Without thinking, he immediately slashed his wife's neck until she died. Shortly after, a servant from Shinnosuke's house came to Kinpei's house to inform him that his younger sister had been killed by Shinnosuke. Hearing this, Kinpei and some of his bodyguards immediately went to Shinnosuke's house. Kinpei felt very sad and angry after seeing his dead sister helplessly in front of him. He called Shinnosuke, who was inside the house, to come out and talk to him. He then asked Shinnosuke what the reason he killed his younger sister was. Shinnosuke told everything he had heard from Uncle Rien about his wife's infidelity without hesitation. Hearing that, Kinpei felt very disappointed in Shinnosuke, who believed the words of a drunkard like Uncle Rien and didn't ask his wife first. Uncle Rien suddenly appeared and cut off the conversation between Kinpei and Shinnosuke. He claims that what he said about the affair of Shinnosuke's wife was true and not a baseless accusation. The situation between Kinpei and Shinnosuke became increasingly tense. When Uncle Rien was about to fight Kinpei with his katana sword, Kinpei quickly killed him first. Shinnosuke, who felt disapproved of Kinpei's actions, then showed the hair clip that his uncle had given him. Seeing the hair clip, one of the servants in the house said that Shinnosuke's wife had lost the hair clip a long time ago and had been trying to find the hair clip everywhere. Shinnosuke's wife then decided to buy a tortoiseshell hair clip at the market to welcome his arrival. From this point, Shinnosuke began to realize that this was all an evil plan of Uncle Rien, who wanted to destroy his household. When Kinpei was about to take his younger sister's corpse back home, Shinnosuke suddenly stopped him and intended to attack Kinpei with his katana sword from behind. But Kinpei swiftly turned around and immediately killed Shinnosuke with one slash of his katana sword. The incident of the murder of Kinpei's sister by Shinnosuke and the murder of Shinnosuke by Kinpei have been known by village officials. Village officials decided to arrest and punish Kinpei for his murder. On the other hand, Iwane gets news from his younger sister that Shinnosuke has been killed by Kinpei. Hearing the news, he was shocked and couldn't believe that the two friends had fought to kill each other. His younger sister explains that Shinnosuke's wife only wants to help now, after finding out that Leizen likes Now and is always after her. Shinnosuke's wife sends a letter to Leizen to stay away from Now. However, when Leizen sent a reply letter to Shinnosuke's wife, Uncle Rie began to spread rumors about the affair between her and Leizen. In the middle of the conversation between Iwane and his siblings, Iwane's father suddenly told him that Kinpei had come to Leizen's house to kill him. Hearing this, Iwane immediately went to meet Kinpei at Leizen's house. Before Iwane left, he left a gift for his little sister to give to Now. He was worried that if something bad happened to him later, he would not have time to give the gift to Now. When Iwane arrived at Leizen's house, he was surrounded by members of the village police. Several police officers who had entered Leizen's house were killed by Kinpei instantly. Iwane realized that Kinpei was furious, and he asked the police chief for permission to speak to him. After Iwane entered, he immediately shouted loudly, telling the truth he had heard from his younger sister. He tells Kinpei that what he is doing right now has crossed the line. Kinpei came out with a body full of bloodstains from the people he had killed. He then asked Iwane to have a sword fight with him. Iwane is willing to comply with Kinpei's wishes and hopes that he can still persuade him to surrender himself to the police. However, when the fierce battle between Iwane and Kinpei took place, Iwane began to realize that Kinpei could no longer be controlled because he had been trapped by his own anger. Iwane was forced to kill Kinpei so that there would be no more bloodshed. Iwane, who had seen Kinpei, his childhood friend, die in front of him, felt very sad and guilty. As a result, all of Kinpei's families, including Now, were expelled from their village by village officials. Before Now left the village, Iwane's younger sister had already given Now the gift Iwane had prepared. The scene changes to a moment a few years later. Iwane has now wandered to another village and works as a fish butcher in a restaurant. That day, Iwane, who had just returned from where he worked, the house owner named Jinpei came to collect the monthly rent from him, but Iwane still doesn't have enough money to pay the rent. Jinpei then took Iwane to a gold currency exchange shop called the Amazuya shop so he could apply for a job as a bodyguard. Unfortunately, the gold currency exchange shop owner has already got 4 new bodyguards. Then a girl named Ajin appears as a staff member at the shop and turns out to be the daughter of Jinpei. Ajin suggested to Jinpei to bring Iwane home because she thought that a fish butcher would not be able to become a bodyguard. When Jinpei and Iwane were about to go home, suddenly, several men appeared and made a commotion in the place because they failed to deceive the Amazuya shop manager with counterfeit silver money. During the fight between Amazuya's 4 bodyguards and the group of troublemakers, a middle-aged man named Kichiman, the shop owner, appeared. The battle becomes even more fierce because there is a samurai among the group of troublemakers. Iwane offers himself to fight the samurai. Jinpei, who doesn't know Iwane is a samurai, tries to prevent him from joining the fight, but in the end, Iwane was able to defeat the samurai with his flagship sleepy sword stance. After seeing Iwane's fighting prowess, he was hired as a new bodyguard by Kichiman at the shop. After that, Kichiman then explained that the origin of the commotion tonight was caused by the government's policy of conducting a new circulation of money. One of the money exchange shops opposed this policy, namely a Whitehouse. The new money circulation policy could cause a Whitehouse's money exchange business to go bankrupt. That's why a Whitehouse did everything to lower the value of the Southern silver coin currency and fight against the Amazuya shop that had supported the government's policy. The next day, Ajin came to Iwane's place to explain his working hours as a Amazuya shop guard and provide wages for his work last night. In the evening, Iwane holds a meeting with 2 of Amazuya's other bodyguards and asks them to observe the Whitehouse shop manager's movements and the henchmen. In the following days, one of the guards discovered that several of the men of the management of a Whitehouse were planning to attack Amazuya with 2 mercenary samurai. Unfortunately, the whereabouts of Amazuya's bodyguards were discovered by a Whitehouse's management staff. The bodyguard was chased by the other men managing a Whitehouse, but he managed to escape luckily. One of the other bodyguards immediately came to meet Iwane and told him about the evil plans of the Whitehouse manager. Iwane then came to meet Kichiman and told him the news he had received earlier, that the manager of a Whitehouse would attack Amazuya's shop tonight. He then explained that the mastermind of all this chaos was the manager of a Whitehouse and the owner of a Whitehouse named Rakuzai. At night, Kichiman meets Iwane and says he already knows his past. Kichiman advises Iwane to return to his hometown after his trauma heals. In the middle of their conversation, 2 mercenary samurai suddenly appeared and prepared to attack Kichiman. It turned out that the 2 samurai only acted as a distractor because one of a Whitehouse's men, Tuguru, had already targeted Kichiman and was about to attack him. Fortunately, Iwane could prevent Tuguru's attack and managed to save Kichiman. Tuguru and his 2 mercenary samurai turned to attack Iwane, but Iwane managed to defeat them with his katana sword skills. After that, Ajin came to Iwane's room to help treat the sword wound on Iwane's back. Feeling comfortable with Ajin's presence, Iwane told her about himself and his dark past. including his love story with Nao, which is currently still unclear. Many people gathered at a Mizuya shop a few days later to exchange Southern silver coins for gold coins. As a result, the exchange rate of Southern silver coins is at risk of falling. It turned out that all of this was still part of Rakyuzai's plan to deliberately exchange 13-to-1 Southern silver coins so that people would sell the money back to a Mizuya shop, which had an 8-to-1 exchange rate for gold coins. This could cause the Southern silver coin exchange rate to drop further and the money changer shop of Mizuya in danger of going bankrupt. A few days later, some people came to the money changer shop in Iwane House to buy many Southern silver coins. As a result, the Iwane House shop, short of Southern silver coins, began mixing the money with counterfeit silver coins. When Warren came to the Iwane House shop to buy Southern silver coins, several security guards came to check the authenticity of the silver coins sold by the Iwane House shop. Upon inspection, it was discovered that most of the money sold by the Iwane House shop was counterfeit. Security officers then arrested the manager of the Iwane House shop, while Rakyuzai, the owner of the Iwane House shop, managed to escape. In the evening, several men who previously came to buy Southern silver coins from the Iwane House shop came to Kichiman's place to meet Mizuya's managers, Iwane and Ajin. It turned out that the attempt to buy large amounts of Southern silver coins was a plan from Iwane and Kichiman to trap the Iwane House shop. However, Kichiman is still not satisfied because Rakyuzai managed to escape from detention by the security forces. After the meeting, Ajin came to meet Iwane and asked him to immediately go look for Nao because the problem at Mizuya's shop was almost over. As Ajin was about to return home, a mercenary samurai suddenly appeared and took her hostage. The mercenary samurai came with Rakyuzai to attack Iwane for destroying Rakyuzai's business. When Rakyuzai orders his mercenary samurai to kill Iwane, the mercenary samurai instead kills Rakyuzai from behind. The mercenary samurai said that he was tired of being Rakyuzai's errand boy. The tense battle between Iwane and the mercenary samurai finally ensued. At first, Iwane was injured several times because the sword fighting ability of the mercenary samurai was very great. Fortunately, Iwane again managed to defeat his enemy even though he was quite severely injured this time. After the fight was over, he left the place and planned to look for Nao's whereabouts. When Iwane came to visit the house of the samurai college he went to, one of the samurai teachers who were there gave him a letter. The letter was a message from Nao, who is currently working as Warren in a famous brothel. Through the letter, Nao explained that after her family was expelled from the village, her family was having a hard time making ends meet. Nao's father's worsening illness required more medical expenses. That's why Nao decided to work as Warren to provide for her family. Nao said she still loved Iwane very much, but she asked him to forget her. Iwane, knowing that Nao was visiting the city where he was, immediately went to find Nao to prevent her from leaving. At night, Nao and her entire crew exhibit in the city streets while performing traditional music. Iwane, who had seen Nao's whereabouts, started running towards Nao and asked her to return. After trying hard to get through the crowd of people, Iwane managed to get close to Nao. Nao, who heard Iwane's call, turned around to see Iwane's face one last time. After kissing the gift from him, Nao continued her journey and left Iwane. Sometime later, Iwane decided to return to Jinbing's rental house. That day, he ran out of rice stock and asked Jinbing to help him find a new job. Shortly after that, Ajin appears and tells Iwane that Kichiman asked him to return to work as a bodyguard at his shop. The film closes with a scene where Iwane and Ajin walk toward Kichiman's house. Ajin really likes Iwane and feels she has a hope of being with him. Ajin's father looks proud of them and feels that Iwane and Ajin will become a very matching couple in the future. The moral that can be learned from this movie is the time when Shinnosuke rashly decides to kill his wife without asking first. We must look at all things from all sides so that there are no fatal mistakes that can cause someone's death.